What if, just seconds after your final breath, your body could be preserved, frozen in time, waiting for science to catch up? Not for minutes, not for days, but decades, maybe even centuries. It sounds stupid and impossible, like something ripped from a sci-fi novel or movies. And to be honest, I thought it was crazy too. The idea that someone could die, be frozen, and somehow return in the future in this world. It sounded like wishful thinking, like a fantasy we tell ourselves to escape the fear of death. But then I started digging, and what I found was real companies, real people, real money being spent on what just might be the most controversial bet in the human history. This is the world of cryonics. Cryonics is the practice of preserving the human body at ultra low temperatures right after legal death, in the hope that advanced technologies of future will one day be able to revive and cure you. Not just revive your heart, but restore your brain, your memories, your identity, and yourself. The process doesn't claim to bring back to life, it simply prevents the dead body from decaying, buying time from science to possibly reverse death. So why are people actually signing up for this? For some, it's not about beating death. It's about buying a tiny sliver of hope. What if, they ask, we'll live long enough to see a world with nanobots that can repair cells, or artificial intelligence that can rebuild a damaged brain? Others are motivated by the idea of seeing the future, of traveling through time in the only way we currently can, by waiting. Cryonics to them is like a lifeboat for dying and bet placed on roulette wheel of science. And the industry, it's very real. In the United States, Alcor Life Extension Foundation is one of the leading names. Based in Arizona, they have already preserved over 230 individuals, and more than 1,400 members are signed up, ready to be frozen when their time comes. Then there is the Cryonics Institute in Michigan, a non-profit founded by Robert Ettinger, a physicist and former army soldier who believed death was just a technical problem. They have preserved over 200 patients so far. Over in Germany, a newer, more tech-forward company called Tomorrow Bio is changing the European market with 24/7 standby teams and fast-growing member base. And in Russia, Cryonics is preserving bodies and even pets in towering steel tanks just outside Moscow. But it's not just the companies or the technology that's fascinating. It's the people who are choosing to be frozen. Cryonics may seem like a fringe idea, but real, and in some cases, famous people have already taken the leap. One of the most well-known cases is Dr. James Bedford, a psychology professor from California who in 1967 became the first person to be cryopreserved. That's over 50 years ago. His body is still stored at Alcor today, making him not only the pioneer of cryonics, but also it's the longest running test case. Then there is Ted Williams.
All right, everybody, we're back. I'm sitting here somehow with Ted Williams.
Close my eyes at night, and I've done this for 50 years.
The iconic baseball legend and one of the greatest hitters in the Major League Baseball history. When he died in 2002, his body was cryopreserved. Well, not all of it. His head was preserved separately, sparking legal battles and media outrage. The decision came from family members who claimed Ted believed in cryonics. Whether it was his wish or not, the reality is this: a piece of one of America's greatest athletes is currently stored in a cryogenic tank. Another notable figure is FM 2030, a futurist and transhumanist thinker born as Fariduddin Asfandiar. He changed his name to FM 2030 to reflect his belief in future. FM for his initials and 2030 for the year he hoped to live to see. When he died in 2000, he too was cryopreserved at Alcor. To his followers, he wasn't dying, he was simply waiting. And these are not isolated cases. Thousands of everyday people, tech workers, students, retirees have signed up for cryonics, seeing it as a plan B for the unknown. And nearly all of them did not pay from their own pockets. They used life insurance, a few $100s a year to secure a potential second chance at life. Whole body cryopreservation typically costs between $28,000 to $220,000, depending on the provider. Brain-only options called neuropreservation are more affordable, starting at around $15,000. Most people fund it through life insurance, naming Cryonics company as the policy beneficiary. So when you die, the insurance pays the cost and the team springs into action. And that time is crucial. Cryonic is not a slow process. It's a race against time. When someone is declared legally dead, a standby team must act quickly, ideally within minutes, to begin cooling the body with ice and specialized circulation systems. Every minute counts because even after legal death, cells begin to degrade rapidly. The goal is to stabilize the body and replace blood with cryoprotectants, special chemicals that prevent ice from forming inside your cells, which would otherwise rupture and destroy them. Once this process is complete, the body is cooled over several hours to minus 196 celsius, then placed into a vacuum insulated steel chamber known as DeVore, filled with liquid nitrogen. There is no electricity involved, just careful monitoring and regular nitrogen top-ups. It's a quiet code of preservation, no aging, no decay, no change. And then we wait.
One eternity later.
That's what cryonic really is, a waiting game. It doesn't promise rebirth. It offers a chance, a gamble on the future. We are waiting for advancements in medical science, nanotechnology, tissue regeneration, and perhaps even digital consciousness transfer, ideas that are still science fiction today, but only God knows about tomorrow. Of course, the criticism is loud. Many scientists call cryonic is a scam or fantasy. They argue that freezing a body, especially the brain, causes irreversible damage, that there is no way to preserve the soul, or even pattern of thought that makes you you. Ethicists call it unnatural. Religious groups call it defiance. Others simply ask, if you cannot revive a frozen steak, how can you revive a human mind? But then again, so much of modern medicine and once sounded like a madness. Transplants, artificial hearts, IVF, cloning, and maybe in the far future someone will say they laughed at cryonics too. So here we are, a world where death is final, but maybe, just maybe, not forever, only God knows. Nevertheless, cryonic is the most expensive gamble ever made on the future. It's not about proving it works today, it's about believing it might work someday. And that belief is what drives people to say, don't bury me, freeze me, let me try again. The real question is not whether it works. Is this, would you take the chance? If it meant seeing the future, if yes, why? Let me know in the comments.